Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to solve day 18 problem of this month on LeetCode. Before starting, if you guys haven't subscribed my YouTube channel yet, then please go ahead and subscribe it. Now without any delay, let's get started with today's problem. Problem number 3408. Design Task Manager. So let's read the problem statement. There is a task management system that allows users to manage their tasks, each associated with the priority, right? The system should efficiently handle adding, modifying, executing, and removing tasks, right? So we have to implement the task manager class. So we have to implement this task manager class, right? And after that, in this class, we have these many methods, right? So here, you see this method, task manager. See this, right? So what we have list of integer tasks given to us, right? So here you see vector int. So this is for, I think, a C++ type programming language. So here if I just modify this to C++, so now you see this, right? Vector int, and like this, right? So what we have to solve this problem in Java. So in Java, if you see, this is a method, right? Task manager, and inside this we have list of integers tasks, right? So we have list of integers like this, right? So these are nothing but the here tasks given to us like this, right? So list of integer tasks, right? And after that, what it is doing, it initializes the task manager with a list of user task priority triples, right? So each element in the input list is of the form user id, task id, and priority, right? So here in the list of integers, we have user id, we have priority, and we have task id, like these things, right? User id, task id, and priority, right? You can change the order, no issues. Like this, you can write user id, task id, and priority id, like this. So here also user id, task id, priority id, user id, task id, and priority, like this. Clear, right? So what it is doing, it adds a task to the specified user with the given priority, right? So this is the class task manager, in which we have to add the tasks, and it is of the form user id, task id, and priority, right? Triplets are given to us. So in this way we have to add the tasks, right? Manage the task. So this is the class for that. Okay, and then this method, if you see, void add int user id, int task id, int priority, right? So these three parameters we are passing in this. So what this method is going to do, it is going to add a task with the specified task id and priority to the user with the user id, right? And it is guaranteed that task id doesn't exist in the system. All right, okay. So first, let's solve this upper part, right? Then I will move to this. Okay, so here, first thing, our task consists of user id, task id, and the priority, right? These three things. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create one class for that. So here I'm going to say private static and class task, right? This is the class I'm going to create, and inside this class we have total three values, right? User id, we have task id, and priority. So here I'm just going to define these fields, right? User id, we have task id, right? And we have priority, right? All these things we have done. And now I'm going to create the constructor of this particular class, right? So the name should be same as of this class name, right? The constructor name, and constructor doesn't have any return type. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass three parameters. One is user id, one is task id, and one is priority, right? So I'm going to pass all this here. So here I'm going to write int user id, and here int task id, and here I'm going to write int priority, right? Now after this, I'm just going to pass the values of this field, right? This is class task, so this user id value, right? This user id value I'm going to get from the parameter that I'm passing inside this constructor, right? So here I'm just going to write user id, and same way I have to do for task id. Task id is equal to task id, and here this dot priority, and I'm going to set it to priority. That's it. Clear? Until now everything's clear, right? So this is a class task that I have created, and in that task class we have user id, we have task id, and we have the priority, right? Okay, and you can use private or not, depends on you. So like if I'm using private, so outside this class I can't access this particular class. Inside this class task manager I can access this, right? So it's your choice if you want to use private or not, right? Same way I'm using here static because my task class is not dependent on this task manager, right? I can use it independently, right? So whenever I'm going to create the object of this class task, right, so then I'm not dependent on this task manager, right? So that's why I'm using static here, and this is the class and the class name, right? It like this only, right? So this is what we need to do. Okay, so it's your choice if you want to write a private or static. It will work without this also, right? Okay, for simplicity you can remove this also like this. Okay, right, so this is done. Now here this is done, right? So here if you see what is this method is doing, edit. So in this edit we have task id and we have new priority, right? So we have task id and we are going to have to set the new priority, right? So let's say my task id is 101. So for this task id also I have my user id. My user id I will have the old, I have the task id also, right? And task id, and also I have the priority id, priority, right? That's it. So here I have to edit the task id, right? And new priority I have to set. So let's say this is the old priority, right? So for this task id, same task id, right? My user id will be same only, right? My task id will be same only, and then I have to set the new priority like this, right? Okay, so it updates the priority of the existing task id, existing task id to the new priority here I'm setting, right? It is granted that task id exists in the system. All right, so it always exists in the system, right? And remove here what it is doing, task id, it removes the task identified by the task id. So for this particular task id we have to remove the task, right? Complete task, and my task consists of user id, task id, and priority, right, from the system. And it is granted that task id exists in the system here. And here this is the main method, right? Execute top, right? So it is going to execute the task with the highest priority across all the users. So first I'm dependent on the priority, right? Execute top, this method is going to execute the task with the highest priority across all the users, right? And if there are multiple tasks with the same highest priority, then execute the one with the highest task id. So first based on priority is same, then based on task id and the highest. And after executing the task id is removed from the system, we have to return the user id associated with the executed task. And if no tasks are available, then in that case we have to return what? We have to return -1, right? So here after executing, the task id is removed from the system, right? And then we have to return the user id associated with the executed task. And if no tasks are available, then we have to return -1. And here note that a user may be assigned multiple tasks. Okay, so this is the problem statement. And here if you want to understand this example number 1, if you see here task manager, right? So for this task manager we have uh, all these values, right? If you see all these values until here, until here, right? Until here, this box, right? So this is nothing but the list of integers, right? So we have total uh, 3 users, you can say, right? It initializes with 3 tasks for user 1, 2, and 3. So this is user id, this is task id, priority, user id, task id, priority, user id, task id, priority. That's it, done. Then next is see add. So in add we are passing 3 values, right? This is for add. So in add also we are passing 3 values: user id, task id, and priority. So task manager dot add for 104 and 5. So it adds the task 104 with priority 5 and user 4. This is user, this is task, and this is priority. So this is done, right? And then add it, right? So this add it. So add it, this in add it we have 2 values. So 2 values in add it, we have task id and new priority. So task id 102, and we have to update the priority as 8. So 102 8. So update the priority of task 102 to 8, right? This is what I have to do here, done. And then after that we have this execute top. So in execute top we are not passing anything, empty, right? So execute top, right? So execute top is going to check the highest priority first, right? So among them highest priority is 10, 20, 15, 5, right? And here 8, this is 8, right? This we have updated now, this is going to be 8 up, we have updated here. So 10, 8, 15, and 5, which is max. 15 is max, right? So here it returns 3, execute task 103, right? and what we have to return, we have to return the user ID, right? From here, after executing, the task ID is removed from the system. Okay, this is going to remove from the system, and we have to return the user ID that is nothing but 3. So that is why we are returning 3. Clear until now how we are doing this, right? Now next step, next here remove. So in a remove, right here, see this, we have remove. For remove 101, right? So we have to remove this task ID 101. Okay, so this is what I'm going to remove here. So remove task 101 from system, right? And then after that we have this add, right? So add, and in add we have 5105 and 15. So I'm going to add this. Now after that we have again in the end what, execute top, right? So execute top, right? So now here we are left with 8, right? We have removed this, we have already removed this pass 8 here, and here you have 5, and here you have 15. So you have to return this 15 is associated, we have to delete this and this user 5, right? Execute task 105 for user 5. That's it. So this is how our input and output looks like, right, in the end. So this is a task manager, right? This is nothing but the class in which I'm just passing all these values. So we have to return null. Add is also null, edit is also null, execute top is having return type int, right? All these other methods have no return type, right? Void. And here this is nothing but we are just initializing the task manager with the list of user task priority requests, right? So here null, here execute top 3, null, and here 5. That's it, right? So this is what we need to do, and these are the constant size. All right, okay. So now what we need to do here, let's move to your code, right? So this is your class task manager, and you have already created this, right? This is the only thing that we have did until now, right? Now after this, what you need to do here, let's create one class, right? So here what you are doing here, for this task ID, right, you have user ID, task ID, and priority, 3 things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a map here. So here I will say private map, and here first we have a task ID, right? This task ID, right? When we have to edit the task ID with new priority, we have to update the priority of the existing task ID. So first we have to know what our existing task ID, it is always there. So for this task ID I will get all the details, user ID, task ID, and this, right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to update this. Okay, so let's say this is my map. In my map I have this task ID, and I have this all values. These all values are coming from nothing but my class task, right? So here I will say uh, integer, right? And here I will say task, right? Clear? And here I will say task ID and 2, and here I will say task, right? Task ID 2 task, like this. And here this is nothing but new hash map, right? Clear? Why I'm doing this, right? So it is good, like I can search. If I have this task ID, it is always there. So I will get this task ID, and I will get all these values, and I will update them one by one, right? So this is done. And once I update this, I also need to add these values. Okay, this is nothing but a new details, right? All the new details I have to pass to my this task class, right? This task class, right? So for this task class, whatever the object that I'm creating, right, in that object I'm passing 3 values every time: user ID, task ID, and priority. So when we initially created, we have all these details, but now after updating this, we have to add the new details also in my class, right? New for that particular object, right? So I have to add this one as well, right? So, and also one more thing, this is your class task, right? So in this you are storing values. Let's store values like this, based on priority and then based on their task ID, right? So I can do one thing, I can create I can use priority queue, right, for that. So what I'm going to do here, let's say max values we need, right? So I will do one thing here, I will create a priority queue. Let's name that priority queue as max heap, right? So private, and here priority queue, and in priority queue what I'm passing all the values of this class, right? User ID, task ID, and priority. So here I'm going to write task, that's it. And here let's name it as max heap. Clear? Done. All right, so now this is done. Now here, this is the basic structure of your code, right? Now we have to write the code inside these methods, right? So here what we have to do, first let's write the logic of this max heap, how this max heap is going to work, right? So I'm going to write max heap is equal to new priority queue, right? And in this new priority queue, let's say I have 2 values, a and b. Okay, a and b, they are nothing but the objects of this class. So a means a dot user id, a dot task id, a dot priority, right? And b is nothing but b dot user id, b dot task id, and b dot priority, like this, right? So these are nothing but the two objects that I have created for this class. So let's say I have these two, right, a and b. So here inside this I have to write the logic how I want to insert the values in my max heap. Okay, in priority queue I'm adding the values of this class task, three values, right, in my priority queue. So logic is like this: if the priority is not same, right? So a dot priority, if a dot priority is not same as b dot priority, in that case you have to return what? Since we need it in decreasing order, right, highest priority in the top, right? So here I have to reverse the logic. I have to write it like this: b dot priority minus a dot priority. All right, so now what is going to happen if this value comes out positive, right? That simply means b priority is greater than a dot priority, right? Then that means b is going to come first and then a is going to come. Okay, that's the meaning of this line. And here otherwise, right, if this is not the condition, then we have to return them based on the task id, right? And that is also in decreasing order. So here I'm just going to write b dot task id is minus a dot task id. So this is the logic of my max heap, right? So this is how it is going to work. So here let's close this. That's it. All right, this is done. Now here let's iterate over all the tasks one by one. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use enhanced for loop. So here list of integer, and let's say task, right, and tasks. So this task is nothing but list of integers, right? So now I'm just going to select this task first, right? All these are tasks, so I'm going to check this task, right? And inside this task also we have user id, task id, and priority. Okay, so here this is what I'm going to do. So int user id is equal to task dot get 0, and int here task id is equal to task dot get 1, and here int priority is equal to task dot get, and here you have to write 2. This is done. And now after this uh, how we create the object of this class? So this is my class, right? So we have to write class name, right? Class name is nothing but task, and for this we have to create object, right? So let's say I'm saying this object name is nothing but t, right? And now new task, right? And here inside this I'm just going to pass these values: user id, task id, and priority, right? I'm going to pass all these values. So user id, task id, and priority, I'm passing all these values, right? Done. And now here I want to add this thing to my this map, task id to task, right? So here this is my map name, right? In this map name I have to put, right, my key is nothing but it's going to be task id, right? And here the values is going to be this complete user id, task id, and priority. So all these values are here, stored here in this object. So I'm going to pass t here. That's it. Okay. And also in the priority queue also, this is my priority queue max heap. In this also I want to pass all these three values, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to write max heap dot offer and t. That's it. That's it. Here t. So this is your code for this, right? That's it. Okay, simple, right? So here we have written the logic of a max heap, and then we iterate over all the tasks, and this is the object that I have created of this particular class task. And then in this map I'm passing task id as my key, and this complete user id, task id, and priority details in the map. And then in the max heap the logic is this one. In this I'm also offering the all these complete values, and all these values are sorted based on priority, and if priority is same then based on task id, because we need to use this here. That's the reason we are entering the values like this, okay, in our priority queue. So this is done. All right, this is done. Now here let's move to this method now. So add, right? So in this add, so first same thing here you need to do like this. You copy this, right? Copy this, paste it here. So task T, I'm creating one object, and right now we have user ID, we are getting from here, task ID we are getting from here, priority we are getting from here, right? And now we are adding this, right? So here, if I want to add this, so I have to do this task ID to task dot put task ID and this T, right? So I have to add this, right? And in the max heap also I have to offer this. So same thing now. I copy same thing here. That's it. Done, right? Okay, so this is done. Now here, edit. Okay, so in edit what we need to do, right? So now edit is useful, right? So in the edit first we need to get the old task details, right? So old task. So here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write task my class old, right? So now for this object old, i want I want all the details, right? So for this 101 I want all these details, and I already store all these details in my map, right? This map, task ID to task, right? So what I can do here, I can simply copy this and I come here, and here I can write task ID to task, and from this just get the values. So we have to get all the values, right? So I have to pass the key here. Key is nothing but my task ID, right? So this is the key I'm passing, and now after passing this key I'm going to get the values, and in values we have user ID, we have task ID, and we have priority. So I get all these values, right? And now here, new details. So new details, what are the new details I have? So I have to create one object again of this class task T, and in this task, this user ID I can take from old, right? From this one old, right? From this old we get all these details, right? User ID and the task ID and priority. So I'm going to use this same UI here, user ID here, task ID same here, and here I have to update the new priority. Task ID is also I can pick from here, right? So what I'm going to do here, old dot user ID, here also I can write old dot task ID, and here old dot task ID is same only, right? So old dot task ID, or you can simply pass the task ID which we are getting from here. And here priority, this is going to the new priority, right? So this one, so I have to copy this. This is the new value, right? New priority. Okay, so this is what I have added here. Clear? Done, right? And now once this is done, then very simple. So in that I have to copy these two lines, right? Here, so I get new object, so I have to first add this updated details, right? So task ID is coming from here, and this is a T value. T value is nothing but old dot user ID, task ID same, and new priority. So I'm passing this, right? And in the max heap I'm going to offer this new T, right? Clear? So this is nothing but I can say lazy insert, right? Reason is, I can, if you notice one thing here, I'm getting old data. I'm getting old data here, right? My old key, it is there in my class task, right? So here I can do one thing. This I have old and new, right? Old key, it is there in my task class, right? Which I have already added in priority queue. So these old details are there in my priority queue, and these new details I have added now in my priority queue. I haven't removed here, if you notice one thing, right? I get the old details, whatever I have, I create a new object and I pass this new object. So in the map I have updated it correctly. In the map I have updated the task ID because we have unique task ID, so I have updated it, right, with the details. But in the max heap I am offering this new values, but my old values are already there. I am not removing them, right? Clear? I haven't removed them, right? My old values, right? So here I'm just adding a comment that I haven't removed the old values from priority queue, right? And I have already inserted new values. So now in my priority queue I have this task ID, and I have two task IDs now in my priority queue, right? In my priority queue I have two task IDs. This is map, don't consider this map. In my map is correctly updated with the user ID, task ID, and priority, new priority. Map is correct, right? This is task ID, map is correct. But in a priority queue we have user ID, priority, and here task ID, right? Task ID, these three details we have, right? User ID, let me write it good way. So this is user ID, task ID, and priority, right? And in the priority we have again user, task, and new priority. So all both the values are here, right? So this is what I'm saying. I haven't removed the old values, right? Because for removing them again I have to check all the values in my priority queue. That is going to take off and time compressor. I don't want that, right? So I have both the values, but just note this point, I have both the values, right? So now here if you see, remove task id, right? Now if you see, we have to remove the task id. So here I can do one thing, that is also very easy. We have to remove, right? So here if you see this method, remove the task identified by the task id from the system, and it is guaranteed that the task id exists in the system. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do one thing here, task id to task, this is my map, right? In the map, this is my map. From this map I can remove this. Okay, dot remove, simply I'm removing from the map only, not from my heap, right? So here I'm just going to pass the task id. It is very easy, in O1 I will do, right? So this is not a lazy deletion, so I have deleted it from my map only right now. Okay, clear? So it is already there in my priority queue, I haven't removed it from there. Now here there is one problem there, execute top, right? So let's say new priority is smaller than my the old priority, so definitely this values come in the top, right? But this record should not be there in my priority queue, right? Let's say this is my priority queue and this is my priority old value, and here I have new value, new priority, right? And this priority value is 15 and this new priority is nothing but a 10, but I have this record already there in my priority queue. I haven't deleted this, right? This should not be there, right? Okay, so but now I'm going to return this, I'm going to check based on this priority, that is bad, right? So what I'm going to do here, in the execute top, I'm going to write a code because my map is correct, my map is correct. So I'm going to check, take the priority, highest priority, whatever the priority we have, then after that just compare the user id and the task id of this one, right? Right, so what I'm saying here, let's see with the code. Here I'm saying while my max heap is not empty, right? So while my max heap is not empty, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the topmost task that I have. So here max heap dot poll, right? So from max heap only we have to take the task most topmost task, right? Because max heap is taking care of this logic, right? So I pick the here top task, right? Now here we have to check whether this particular task that we have picked, okay, is valid or not. So this is the topmost task, highest priority, but I have to check if this is valid or not. This is what I have to check, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare this user id, this is a task id, right? And this is also task id, this task id same, right? So here this task id is nothing but 101, this task id is also nothing but 101, right? Clear? Right, now here if you are seeing the priority 15 highest right now, right? So here if you see this, so your user id and user id here both will match, right? Because task id is same, task id will same, but here this is the old priority and this is a new priority. In your map you have new priority, this is not match, that simply means that this is invalid record, you have to delete this. Then again you have to check user id, task, new priority, both values are matching, that simply means that this task id is correct, so this value is correct. This is what I'm going to do here. So valid is nothing but, so for valid I'm just going to get the details from this map, user id, task id and priority details, right? So here I'm going to write task id to task, and here dot get, and here I'm just going to write t dot task id. Done. So this is what I'm going to write, and now I have to check if it is valid or not. So valid, here if valid value is not equal to null, right, is not equal to null, and here and then I have to compare valid dot priority, right? It should be equal to t dot priority, right? And valid dot user id, it should be equal to t dot user id. Clear? So if this is the case, if this is the case, in that case you have to do one thing, you have to remove this task id, right? So here you can do this, here task id to task dot remove, and here t dot task id, right? If this is the case, and then we have to return the t dot user id, right? So only we are only going to remove when all these things are matching, right? And in the else part, so you can say else old entry, stale entry, if this is not the case, right? If my valid dot priority is not matching with t dot priority, so stale entry, then in that case use skip. Okay, and here in the problem statement it's saying that somewhere here After executing, the task ID is removed from the system. Return the user ID associated with the execute task. If no tasks are available, then we have to return -1. So here we have to simply return -1. That's it. So this is your complete code. Okay, so now let's run it and see if there are code issues. We'll try to fix that. So see, all the test cases has been accepted, right? Now let's submit it. So see, our solution is accepted, right? And here you can remove these things, right? If you don't want to write, you can remove this, you can remove this, right? And here let's submit. Let's see. So see, our solution is still accepted, right? So we can remove these things if you want, or we can keep it, no issues. And here if you see valid is not equal to null, right? And valid dot priority is equal to t dot priority, and here valid dot user id. Can we skip this? Can we skip this or not? Let's see if I can skip this, right? Let's see. Let's run the code. One test case is accepted, right? Now let's see if I can submit complete code or not. So see here, one test case is getting failed, right? This one test case is getting failed. So maybe in that case, what is going to happen here? Maybe your task ID is not matching. This user ID is not matching, right? So it's good if we give this condition, right? Valid dot user ID. It should be equal to t dot user ID, right? So let's add this also. Now if I submit it, then we are able to pass this test case also, right? See, so I hope that you guys are clear with this problem, and if you guys still have any doubts, then please feel free to ask in the comment section. Till then, keep coding and keep practicing. Meet you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.